The saloon reeked of whiskey and smoke, the piano long gone silent. Elena Carter stood in the corner, her jaw tight as Danny Cross slammed his glass on the table. Cards scattered, liquor spilled, and his voice cut through the haze like a blade. "You think any man's ever gonna want you, Elena?" He sneered, eyes bloodshot, lips curled in a cruel grin. "You're nothing but trouble. Too soft to be useful, too proud to be wanted." The crowd went quiet. A few cowhands shifted uncomfortably, but no one dared step in. Danny was mean when he drank, and tonight he was drowning in it. Elena's throat tightened, but she forced her chin high. She had given him her loyalty, her years, and all she got was betrayal. Cheating with barmaids, lies whispered sweeter than poison. And now, public humiliation. "I'd rather die alone than stay chained to a snake like you," she shot back, her voice shaking but steady enough to silence even the drunkest man in the room. Danny smirked, leaning closer. "Ain't no difference. Alone is what you'll always be." The words struck deep, but Elena didn't let him see the tears burning her eyes. She turned, storming into the rain-soaked street. Lightning cracked overhead, the mud swallowing her boots with each step. Her heart was splintered, her hope all but gone. And yet, as thunder rolled across the Rockies, she felt it, the faint pull of fate. Somewhere in the shadows of this unforgiving town, something was about to change. Before we dive into the story, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because tomorrow we've got an extra special story waiting for you. One that'll touch your heart and blow your mind. Don't miss it. The rain hammered the rooftops of the frontier town, rattling shutters and flooding the dirt streets. Elena pushed through the saloon doors again, desperate for shelter from the storm. Her dress clung to her frame, boots heavy with mud, her pride hanging by a thread. The piano man plucked a nervous note, then fell silent. Most of the crowd had drifted out, but at the far end of the bar sat a man she hadn't noticed before. Broad-shouldered, hat pulled low, his duster coat dark with rain. He nursed a single whiskey, untouched for too long, like a man lost in his own thoughts. Unlike the others, he hadn't laughed at Danny's cruel words. He hadn't even looked up. But when Elena stepped inside, his gaze lifted, steady and unshaken. And for a moment, it felt like the storm outside had slowed. Danny was gone, but his shadow still clung to her. She ordered water, ignoring the stares, pretending not to notice the stranger's eyes following her movements. Not with hunger, not with mockery, but with something quieter, something harder to name. The barkeep muttered, "Drifter's been sitting there all night. Don't talk much." Elena glanced again. His hat shadowed his face, but she caught a glimpse of rugged features, the kind carved by wind and work. He looked like a man out of place, or maybe a man hiding from it. For reasons she couldn't explain, her heart skipped. One thought echoed against the thunder outside. Why does he seem familiar? And why do I feel safer with a stranger than I ever did with the man I loved? The storm raged on outside, turning the town streets into rivers of mud. Inside, the saloon felt smaller, warmer, but heavy with smoke and whispered secrets. Elena sat near the piano, trying to steady her nerves, every muscle still tense from Danny's venom. The stranger, Luke, stood, brushing rain from his duster, and stepped toward the bar. He didn't crowd her, didn't smile. He merely nodded to the barkeep, then leaned on the railing a few paces away. Something in his stillness made her pulse quicken. "You're quiet," she said finally, voice low, almost defiant. He glanced at her, eyes narrowing just slightly, as if weighing her words. "Quiet don't mean harmless," he said. His voice was rough, low, but not unkind. "And loud don't mean honest." Elena blinked. Who was this man? She wanted to hate him, to push him away, but the weight in his gaze kept her rooted. "I've had my fill of men who pretend to be more than they are," she muttered, jaw tight. "Ain't much trust left in me." He didn't smile. Ain't much left in me either. Folks only see what they want, or take what they can. Doesn't leave much room for truth. For a heartbeat, the saloon, the storm, the smell of whiskey, the tension, all of it disappeared. Two wounded souls circling carefully, neither willing to show the full scar. And yet, in the quiet between their words, something fragile and electric hummed. For the first time that night, Elena didn't feel completely alone. The night had settled over the town like a velvet curtain, but sleep would not come to Elena. The saloon doors creaked in the wind, and every distant hoofbeat made her flinch. She had tried to convince herself Danny Cross was gone for good, but the fear clung like dust in her lungs. Then came the soft sound of boots dragging across the muddy street outside her boarding room. A shadow flickered in the lantern light, a figure she knew too well. Her heart thudded. Danny. He didn't knock. He didn't announce himself. Just leaned against the post, hat tipped low, cigarette smoke curling in the night. Thought you could hide from me, Elena? His voice was calm, but the menace beneath it made the air thick. Elena's hands trembled. She wanted to flee, wanted to vanish into the dark streets. But she remembered the stranger in the saloon, the one whose presence had felt like a shield against the storm. Luke. Before she could act, a deep voice cut through the tension. She ain't alone. Luke stepped from the shadows, boots thudding in the mud, duster dripping with rain. His eyes, sharp as the mountain winds, met Danny's. You leave her be, or you'll regret it. Danny laughed, low and bitter. And who's gonna stop me? You? Luke's hand hovered near the pistol at his hip. I don't need to aim to make a point. For a heartbeat, the three of them froze in the lantern light. The storm outside, the mud beneath, and the dangerous calm that comes before chaos. Elena's heart raced, fear and something else she hadn't felt in years mixing in her chest. Hope. Because for the first time, she wasn't facing the storm alone. The morning sun barely pierced the smoky haze of the town, turning the streets to gold and shadows. Elena lingered by the stable, brushing the mud from her skirts, trying to calm her racing heart. Danny had left, for now, but the fear lingered like a restless ghost. Luke appeared silently, leaning against the fence, hands tucked in his coat pockets. He didn't offer comfort, didn't try to fix her fear. Instead, he simply watched her with those piercing eyes, as if weighing the pieces of her soul. You're thinking he'll come back, he said, voice low. Ain't that obvious? Elena swallowed, nodding. I can't keep running. He stepped closer, boots crunching in the dirt. You won't have to. Not if you don't want to. Some people only see what's on the surface, but some things are hidden. She tilted her head, curiosity mixed with caution. Hidden? Luke's lips twitched, almost like a smirk. Aye, folks around here think I'm just another drifter, rough and poor. But the world ain't always what it seems. Some of us carry land and wealth out west, far from their eyes. We just keep it to ourselves. Elena's pulse quickened. You have a ranch? He shrugged, non-committal. A place to call home, if you ever wanted to see it. Her mind whirled. Who was this man? Dangerous in town, yet strangely trustworthy. His secret hinted at power, yet he didn't flaunt it. And somehow, that quiet strength made her heart ache in a way she hadn't felt in years. The wind kicked up dust in the street, and for the first time, Elena felt a flicker of something she thought long dead. Hope. Night had settled over the town, lanterns flickering in the corners of the saloon where Elena nursed a cup of bitter coffee. Luke stood nearby, his silhouette rigid, shoulders tense. The storm from earlier had passed, leaving the streets slick and empty. But the danger in Danny's shadow still lingered. You've been quiet, he said, voice low, almost cautious. You're thinking what I am. Elena looked up, eyes wary. I don't know what to think of anyone anymore. He stepped closer, boots crunching on the wooden floor. Then hear this. I ain't just a drifter. I own land, cattle, more than most men in this territory could imagine. Her heart skipped. You lied to me? I didn't lie. I hid it. And I don't show it because every woman I ever cared for only wanted the gold, not the man. His gaze softened slightly, though the hardness lingered. I need to know you see me, Elena, or you leave. Elena's throat tightened. Her past, Danny's venom, the pain of betrayal, all rushed back. She wanted to run. She wanted to guard her heart forever. Yet, when she looked at him, the rain-streaked duster, the calloused hands, the eyes that had protected her tonight, she felt something she hadn't in years, a flicker of trust. Luke extended a hand, rough and steady. Come see the land. If you do, you'll see me, all of me, and you can choose to stay, or leave. Thunder rumbled over the Rockies, distant but ominous. Elena hesitated, fear battling hope. But for the first time, she didn't feel completely alone. The first light of dawn barely kissed the horizon when Luke led Elena from the town, the streets still slick with mud and the remnants of last night's storm. Danny's shadow lingered in every corner, every whisper of wind through the empty alleys, but Luke's presence at her side steadied her. They rode hard, boots digging into stirrups, hooves pounding the rocky trail that led toward the mountains. Elena's heart raced with fear and exhilaration. Every mile away from town felt like shedding a layer of the old life that had chewed her up and spat her out. Luke rode slightly ahead, glancing back only occasionally, eyes scanning the horizon. The land's not far, he said, voice calm, steady. But it's wild. Ain't the place for the faint of heart, Elena swallowed, awe mingling with anxiety. I don't care, she whispered. I just want to be safe. For hours, the landscape opened into rolling hills, tall grasses swaying like waves beneath the rising sun. Streams cut through the valley, reflecting gold and pink, and the scent of pine and earth filled the air. Elena had never seen anything so vast, so free, so alive. Finally, Luke turned a corner, and the ranch revealed itself. Long barns, grazing cattle, fences stretching toward the horizon, and a house that looked built from the mountains themselves. It was isolated, untamed, and magnificent. Elena's breath caught. For the first time in years, fear mixed with something else. Something fragile and daring. Hope. The ranch stretched before Elena like a dream she didn't dare imagine. Rolling hills of golden grass, cattle grazing lazily under the wide Colorado sky, and mountains standing sentinel in the distance. It was freedom made visible. Luke moved silently beside her, teaching her to handle the reins, showing her the fences, the barns, the horses that eyed her curiously but calmed at her gentle touch. She laughed, a full, real laugh that had been missing for years, as a young mare nudged her shoulder, testing her patience and skill. You're a quick learner, Luke said, voice low, a hint of admiration hidden in the rough edges. Most folks give up after a day. Elena's heart fluttered. I don't like giving up. He smiled faintly, and for a moment, the weight of betrayal, the sting of Danny's cruelty, and the years of loneliness faded. The wind carried the scent of pine and earth, and in that vastness, she felt herself stretching, growing lighter with every step. But fear still lingered in her chest. Every rustle in the grass, every distant howl reminded her the world could still be cruel. Luke sensed it. His hand brushed hers once, not holding, not demanding, just a promise. I'm here. That night, they sat by the fire, the stars spilling across the sky like scattered diamonds. Elena dared to hope that maybe, just maybe, a heart broken beyond repair could learn to beat again. For the first time in years, she didn't feel completely alone. The sun had barely risen over the ridge when Elena spotted the first signs. A broken fence post near the cattle pen, hoofprints in the soft earth that didn't belong to Luke's herd. Her stomach dropped. a cold knot twisting inside her. Luke appeared behind her, eyes narrowing. "Something's out there," he muttered, scanning the hills. Her breath caught. "Danny?" she whispered. He didn't answer. His hand hovered near the pistol at his hip. Together, they moved cautiously through the tall grass, the horses tense beneath them, ears flicking to every distant sound. Then, a shout shattered the morning calm. Danny's voice, sharp and bitter, cut through the valley. "Thought you could hide from me, Elena." Her heart pounded as he appeared at the far edge of the ranch, a dark silhouette against the rising sun, gun glinting in his hand. Fear and fury twisted together in her chest. Luke stepped forward, stance rigid, eyes locked on the outlaw. "You leave her, Cross, or you'll regret it." Danny laughed, a low, dangerous sound that carried across the open land. "You think you can stop me? I've come too far to let her go." Elena's hands trembled on the reins, but she felt Luke's presence beside her. A wall, a shield, a promise. The wind swept through the valley, carrying the scent of danger, smoke, and the wide-open range. For the first time since arriving, the ranch felt alive with threat. But for the first time, too, Elena realized she wasn't facing it alone. The night had fallen like a velvet trap, stars hidden behind clouds heavy with rain. Elena was mending fences by lantern light when the distant snap of a twig made her freeze. "Luke," she whispered, heart thundering. He appeared from the shadows, hand on his pistol, eyes scanning the darkness. "Stay close." A sudden flash lit the horizon, a torch. Smoke curled through the trees as Danny's figure emerged, dragging a bundle of hay into flames near the barn. "Thought you could hide from me, Elena," he bellowed, voice jagged with rage. The horses whinnied and stamped, panic spreading across the ranch. Elena's chest tightened. Fear, terror, adrenaline all collided. Luke moved like a shadow, fast and precise, grabbing her arm and pulling her behind the sturdy fence. "Stay low," he barked. "Don't move until I say." Danny's laughter rang, cruel and unhinged. Bullets kicked up dirt near their feet, sparks flying as Luke fired warning shots into the night, forcing him back. Smoke stung Elena's eyes. The heat licked her face and panic clawed at her throat. For a heartbeat, it felt like the world had been reduced to fire, shadow, and fear. But Luke's steady presence beside her, the fierce determination in his gaze, was a tether pulling her from the brink. As the barn threatened to ignite fully, Luke grabbed a rope, pulling her toward the horses. "We're getting out, now." And together, in the chaos of fire and fury, they ran, toward safety, toward hope, toward each other. The first light of dawn painted the valley in muted gold as Elena and Luke rode to the far edge of the ranch, hearts still pounding from the night's chaos. Smoke lingered in the air, the burnt hay scent a harsh reminder of Danny's threat. Elena's hands gripped the reins, knuckles white. Fear still clawed at her chest, but something else had grown stronger. Resolve. Years of heartbreak, betrayal, and loneliness had taught her how easily hope could be stolen. But now, with Luke at her side, she realized running wasn't the answer anymore. "I can't keep hiding," she said, voice steady despite the tremor beneath it. "Not from him. Not from life. Not from you." Luke glanced at her, surprise flickering in his eyes before softening. "You don't have to hide," he said. "I won't let anyone take you from this place. Not him, not anyone." Her breath hitched. The man beside her, once a stranger, had become her anchor. And for the first time, she understood the depth of the words she had always feared. She could choose love, not just survival. Danny's shadow might return. Danger might never fully vanish. But Elena felt a fierce, fiery courage she hadn't known in years. "I choose this," she said, voice low but unwavering. "I choose us. Here, now. No more fear." Luke's hand found hers, rough and calloused, squeezing gently. "Then we stand together." Always, for the first time in years, Elena's heart felt whole. The horizon stretched endlessly before them, wild and free, and for the first time, she believed that love could be the same. The morning sun stretched across the valley, painting the ranch in hues of gold and amber. The smoke from Danny's chaos had long faded, leaving only scorched earth and memories of fear behind. But Elena didn't see destruction. She saw survival, freedom, and a life reclaimed. She rode beside Luke, wind tugging at her hair, heart steady for the first time in years. The ranch sprawled endlessly before them, mountains rising like silent guardians, streams sparkling in the sunlight. Every blade of grass, every grazing cow, every distant peak whispered the promise of peace. Luke glanced at her, a small, tender smile breaking the rugged lines of his face. "You all right?" he asked, voice gentle, steady. Elena nodded, chest full, eyes glistening. "Better than I ever thought I could be. I feel like I'm home." He reached out, hand brushing hers, fingers intertwining. "Home's where you choose to be, Elena. And I choose this. Us." She laughed softly, tears slipping freely now, not of pain but of relief, of hope, of love finally returned. For years she had been hunted by shadows, betrayed by those she trusted, and afraid to hope again. But here, under the wide-open skies, she felt the weight lift. The ranch, the mountains, the endless horizon. They were witnesses to her heart's quiet resurrection. And beside her, Luke, the man who had proven love could be steadfast and true, squeezed her hand. Elena let herself breathe, let herself love, let herself finally belong. For the first time, fear was gone, replaced by something brighter, fiercer, unshakable. Hope, home, and the promise of forever. Experience love, heartbreak, and hope in the untamed Wild West. Subscribe to Wild West Eternal Love and ride through stories of danger, passion, and hearts that never give up.